fans travelling to Eastern Europe for Euro 2012 are already considering their options. They may have to pay about £2,000 for their trip, though, depending on where the boys in green end up and, of course, how far they progress in the tournament. It's going to kick off on the 8th of June next year, and one place that is expected to be flooded with loan applications to finance those trips is your local credit union. Mick O'Connell is the manager of Clondalkin Credit Union. There hasn't been a rush in the door yet, I would assume, Mick.
Not yet, Jonathan, but we're expecting it any minute now.
You were at the match last night. I mean, as I said, I thought it was quite a drab affair. The most excitement was to see how far people could get those paper planes onto the pitch, but it was mission accomplished.
Yes, it was. And in fairness, I know what you're saying about the match wasn't the most exciting match that I've been at with the Irish team, but it's been the most exciting venue I've been at in quite a long time.
The night was different, wasn't it? There was a great crack.
On the way there, coming down through Ballsbridge, outside, all of those places there, the singing, the dancing, the camaraderie of all the guys there, they were actually wrapped around each other, dancing Irish dancing on the street. And this was about 2 hours, an hour and a half before the match. Brilliant. Then you go into it, the crowd were coming in early, the singing started. During the match, the Mexican waves, all that was that excitement back. It's the most exciting match I have attended. I've attended quite a lot of matches down through the years.
I know the football, I'm talking about the football, I'm not talking about the atmosphere. The atmosphere was amazing. I was actually in the South Stand where all the noisy fans were with the drums, and it was absolutely brilliant. It really was. Look, the next focus now is travelling to Eastern Europe. Look, how are people going to save for this particular trip, Mick? I mean, were you around for previous excursions, shall we say?
Yeah, I mean, I can go back to, say, the Italian 90. I mean, that was a big experience. That was the first time, if you like, that we'd really done anything as big as that. We had the 1988, but Italian 90 was the big thing because people had an expectation and there was more people ready for it. At that time, what we were encouraging our members to do was, non-members, come in and talk to us, set up a savings account, start saving now, and then, when you need your first payment, maybe for your plane tickets to confirm, we'll give you a small loan then, to get that sorted out. Keep saving then, and as you come up to the time for, paying for your accommodation and paying for your travel and having your social expenses, if you like, then we would talk to them about lending again, but in a responsible way.
Was there not an awful lot, a lot of applications for new couches and new furniture and new kitchens at the time that you had to try and see through, because that's not what they were for?
Watch the television, Jonathan.
But there was a lot of that. People weren't being open and honest about where the money was going to go. Do they need to be that way?
They need to be honest. I mean, I would know. I deal with loans here, and some of our other people would deal with loans here, and we'd know by talking, and we'd know by the age profile, and we might know by the fact that they might be wearing an Irish jersey when they're coming in. And you'd say, "Well, you're going away, are you?" And yes, and then we'd ask them to be more honest about it. And then we obviously taking into consideration at that exciting time, then with matches rolling over maybe every 2 years, we say to them, "Look, if you're going to go now to Italia 90, you need to get that any loan you would take and any expenses repaid within 2 years, so that you can do it again." In other words, that you're not paying for a football match 3 years after you actually go to the game, and it's all forgotten about, if you like,
Yeah.
But what we're doing at the moment now is we're actually with our Facebook page is obviously congratulating the team, and we're saying to our members, look, you have 6 months away to when the travelling is really going to start and when the big expenses are going. It's going to average about 2,000, so that has to be taken into consideration. Start saving now if you're not already a member. If you can save 30 or 40, I know things are tough, but if you can start saving 30 or 40 euro a week now, just take the lower figure of 30 euro. What we would do is you save up that 30 in 6 months' time. When you get, you're talking about having somewhere about 800 euro if everything goes according to plan. And we would lend our members up to 3 times their savings. And it's on the basis that the 30 that they save regularly with us will cover the repayments on a 2,000 loan within a 2-year period of time. So we'll be asking our members to be honest with us and tell us why they need it, because we'll be then very honest and tell them what it will cost, so that the real cost, because there are families behind the members who are travelling, there's the downturn in the economy which is behind us, so there's probably not as much money around. We'll be very, very fair with our members, we'll be very, very honest with them, and we'll actually advise them on how best to manage their savings, if you like, and their loans to actually make the preparation for the to travel in for the 8th of June.
Mick, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to apply for a loan to a bank anytime soon, but I'd imagine if you went into your high street bank and asked for a loan for something like this, they probably wouldn't let you have it, because lending has become so strict on that side of the financial house. But the credit union side, is it going to be more strict perhaps than it would have been for Italia 90?
Obviously different times, but I think that being strict, I'd say, I wouldn't say that. What we'd be probably more cautious in the advice that we would give our members. And in those days, like, things where there was a whole excitement, which there is again now, thank God. But I think that we'd be actually saying to them, look, whatever you can afford to save, we will then say that that's what you can afford to keep paying over the next two years, and that we will be asking you to keep your commitments within that sum. In other words, don't come in and say, give me 100 a week for 3 weeks, pay nothing for 2 months, give me another 100 or 200, then you get up to the same €800. We would be very comfortable lending somebody money in that sort of way, because we can't see a commitment for them to actually repay the loan. Whereas if we get the person who's giving us that small, consistent, regular saving, 20, 30 per week, we know that they will still be able to afford to give us that after the game is over for a period of time. That's what we'd be encouraging people to do.
You mentioned the €30 a week over 6 months. That gets you up to about 800, and you can borrow 3 times of that. If you're not a member of a credit union now, if you don't have shares, you need to get in fairly quickly, I suppose, do you?
Yeah, I mean, we would take now about 1,100-1,200 new members every year, because we're in a growing area, and we would encourage people to go down now, even though I know it's before Christmas and things, but go down now, start your account now, get your shares up, get your book, get everything set up, so that when Christmas is all over, that you can start saving immediately in January. That's what we'd be saying to our members to do.
Just before I let you go, will you be travelling yourself yet?
I'm actually looking at that. I certainly would. Do
you have a preference, Poland or Ukraine, by any chance?
Well, I haven't been to Poland, so I'd actually like to see Poland, because it's in the, there's a lot of people talk about that being to Poland. It's an exciting place. They're quite like Ireland. They've got a rural farming background. They're coming on now, like with the EU is bringing them on. So I'd actually like to visit it there. And I think being able to go with a group of fans and wear the green, and they're a very hospitable people, and we've met some of them here who've come to work here. I think we've got on very, very well together. And while we might enjoy our team beating them, which would be nice, I think they would enjoy the crack with us afterwards.
All right, Mick, I'll leave you go away and deal with probably a steady stream of new customers coming through the door. Mick O'Connell, manager of Clondalkin Credit Union. Thanks, Mick.
Thank you.